Yo, what is good, YouTube? What's up, PlayStation Nation? Jay Bari here, and I'm back with another video here to give you guys my Final Fantasy XVI review. Yes, it's finally here. I am finally ready to talk and review this game that holds a very special place, honestly, in my heart, man. I really enjoyed my experience, my time with Final Fantasy XVI, and I'm gonna go in depth on why I really enjoyed this game. I'm also going to be talking about the cons of this game, because as much as I enjoy the game and I really love it, there are a few chinks in the armor, which, you know, hopefully it can either be addressed in a future game or, you know, future updates. You never know. So that's why I want to give my opinion, give my thoughts on how I felt about Final Fantasy XVI, but I will be doing it in a different manner, right? You know, normally when you watch a review or you listen to a review or you read a review, you see the score at the end of the review. Not in this review. I'm going to actually give you my score right away. Then I will talk about the reasons on why I gave him my score, and once again, the cons of the game. So let's get into it. Final Fantasy XVI. My official score for this game is a 9 out of 10. Yes, a 9 out of 10 I am giving Final Fantasy XVI, because the pros of this game super outweigh the cons, in my opinion. I felt like Final Fantasy XVI is a superb game from start to finish. I love the characters, I love the look of the game, the story overall is just a wonderful game to play. Like I said earlier before, there are a few chinks in the armor that I feel like it can also improve, but overall, like how I finished this game, honestly guys, I was left in tears. It is not an easy thing for a game to leave a brother looking like this after I completed it, but it was tears of joy, sadness, all of the above when it comes to 16. They nailed a lot of the aspects story-wise, and the reason why I rate it so high, because story, character development, characters overall is what I really look for in a Final Fantasy game. So my review comes from me platinum in the game. Also, I spent about 150 something hours playing this game twice. So I beat it originally in the action mode, and I beat it in Final Fantasy mode. Never skipped a cutscene, never skipped anything when it comes to dialogue. You know, completed majority of the side quests when I was playing through Final Fantasy mode. So yeah, you know, like I said, I love this game a lot. It is not perfect, but overall, the feeling it left with me twice, not once but twice, I can't negate and I can't ignore it. But let's get into the review. Let's talk about why I feel this way. Let's break it down, and we're gonna always start with the cons here of Final Fantasy 16 and the things that it can improve upon within the game. So let's get into it and talk about the cons, where I'm going to talk about the things that I disliked about Final Fantasy 16. And I broke up the cons when it pertains to this game for the little gripes, the little small things, the small little details here and there, little intricate things. And then I have the bigger, grander cons that I feel like this game needs to work on or can improve or add for additional, you know, better overall experience and play. So one of the really small ones that I have with this game is the fact there's no real reason or no real feel of a legendary chest within the game. So there's chests all over the world of Valisthea, but everything that you get from it is so small and so minuscule that it kind of doesn't really matter. By the time you already have about 100 blood hides, or blood vials, or whatever they call it, for the game to craft anything. So going to the game and opening the chest, you see a chest over there, obviously, in your mind, I've been playing Final Fantasy for a long time, you want to open it and see what you get. But in certain areas, I feel like, man, is this it? That's a small gripe. You know what I mean? I know it's a much longer explanation, but it's a small gripe. But let's get into a bigger one, leading up to that. And it comes to exploration. Exploration, I feel, is not the greatest thing in Final Fantasy 16. I feel that in prior games, there are areas, there's dungeons, there's things that you will want to explore or travel to, just so you can probably fight a more dangerous monster or get like a legendary chest within that area. You don't really get that feel within Final Fantasy 16, and it's a big bummer. With 15, you had certain dungeons, you had like a whole 100 floors of dungeons, and in prior games you had those things, and I just felt like they missed the ball when it came to that aspect in Final Fantasy 16. Another major one for me is the fact that there's no mini games in Final Fantasy 16. Not one mini game in Final Fantasy 16, and I found that quite disappointing, in my opinion. That's something that I always look forward to, whether it's a chocobo race, whether it's me, hitting a whole bunch of enemies in a matter of time period. It's just, I felt like you could have added something where you have that mini game feel to earn something like an armor set or accessory or things like that. But the fact that there was none in there, very, very disappointing. Another small gripe that I had was no Biggs or Wedge within Final Fantasy 16. I was searching far and wide to see what NPC will be called Big or Wedge, but they were not there in Final Fantasy 16. So the other con that I have here is no VRR option for a PlayStation 5 game. I did have no motion blur option there as a major con, because I don't like motion blur in games, but I'll put that as well in the smaller gripes with the VRR. The fact that you are a PlayStation 5 exclusive and you don't have those features like other prior Square Enix games in there, I felt that was kind of weird. It's not a major issue to me, but I felt like it needed to be addressed. Like, why is there no VRR option when your other games from this company has them, especially the ones that came out this year, like Forspoken. A major con for me is the menu, the item menu specifically. I feel like it's not finished. One, we're going to talk about the sorting in the game. I feel like the sorting in the game is horrible in Final Fantasy 16. Like, what there's no sorting options in the game, to be honest with you. I don't even know what the sorting options are. When you press square to sort, I don't know what's going on there, because it's not by alphabetical order. It's not by weakest to strongest. It's not by rarest to not rarest. I don't know. The sorting is just horrible in Final Fantasy 16. So that was a major issue for me, and it felt like it's unfinished. And what are the key items for? I don't know what's going on there. Here's a clip on what I mean. There's no real key items. There's items will go into it, but then it will leave right away. Like, to me, that bothered me personally. So the next major con that I have here is multi-layered. So this is gonna be, I label the con, but then I have whole different like sub layers underneath the con, right? So the major con that I have here is the oversimplification within Final Fantasy 16. And what I mean by that is that there's a lot of different aspects of the game where I felt like this was the wrong design choice to choose, with just oversimplifying everything. So let's get into it. So as much as I love the combat, there's a few things I feel like they shouldn't oversimplify when it comes to the combat. One of the major things that I have an issue with in the game, and this is probably the biggest con that I have in the game, is that there's no status effect within Final Fantasy 16. So Clive doesn't get poisoned, he doesn't fall asleep, He doesn't get confused. He doesn't get burned. I don't think he freezes. I think he does freeze, but you know, the simple status effects that a Final Fantasy game will have, Clive doesn't experience any of that at all. And I don't understand why they don't have any type of you know, status effect when there's small buffs that you can get in the game. So you have like your strength tonics, you have like your stone skins where you buff your offense and you buff your defense. But the fact that you don't have like a potion, and not a potion but an antidote, you know, it seems a remedy. It seems weird that you can fight certain bosses and, you know, they will put out like a poison mist or, you know, like a morbo, like bad breath, and nothing really affects him in any type of way other than him just getting knocked down. So I felt like they could have just they didn't have to simplify that, to be honest with you, at all. They didn't have to simplify that at all, and I felt like that was a huge missing component within this game. Another major con that I have within this game is that weapons and armor are just too plain. You know, there's no real point to the rarity, in my opinion, because you have like, you know, rare or legendary weapon set or armor sets, but they don't really have any type of like other effects other than, you know, strength or defense within the game. So I felt like you could have added a much more cooler things, like, you know, cooldown could be faster here within this armor set or whatnot, but you didn't really have any of that within Final Fantasy XVI. So the next simplification con that I have here for Final Fantasy XVI has to do with your allies or your party members, where they treat party members completely different than how they would treat them in a traditional Final Fantasy game. So outside of Torgal, party members don't have any type of option on command where you can, you know, tell them to attack or tell them to heal. And I find that, you know, a major bummer. You know, some of these attacks that, you know, party members would do looks really cool, and it could be really useful. You know, you earn a lot of them throughout your journey, like I said, but you really you can't command them how you can with Torgal. And I feel like you could add something within, you know, the controls, the options, where I would have wanted to have some type of tactile control for your party members, but that's not the case here in this game. That's a little bit too simplified in my personal opinion. Continuing the cons that have to do with the party members, one of the small gripes I had is with Torgal. So Torgal, he unlocks like a special mode that he can transform into during combat, but you can't really command that. It's something that's done automatically within battle, and I felt like they could have incorporated that where I can, like, okay, Torgal turn into, you know, the Fenrir mode within the game. So I thought that would have been cool. It would have added a little bit more depth to it, but he does do it automatically, so it's not really like a major con because you will see him transform during battle, but it would have been nice for me to command that and control that. So little gripe. So the next small gripe that I have had to do with the target lock, where the target lock, I feel like it didn't really feel too well. You know, knowing that the Kingdom Hearts developers worked on the combat with the game, it's surprising that the target lock didn't feel so well. Where I learned much later in the game that you can switch your target lock by pressing R3. So whatever enemy that you are locked onto, you can just press R3 to switch over to another enemy within your view. But you can't really like just pan over. So I can't go left, I can't go right. It just goes automatically to the one that's closer to you or the one that you have specifically in view. It's a small gripe with me. It's not like a major thing. They didn't really kill combat for me. They didn't really have any issues as far as any major issues as far as like, oh, I died because you locked on to the wrong enemy. But it didn't feel right in my opinion. So small gripe. So the last and major con that I have when it comes to Final Fantasy XVI has to do with enemy variety. Now this one I'm a little bit conflicted because there are a lot of enemies in this game, but I feel like as a Final Fantasy game there were still a lot that was missing within the game. So, you know, when it comes to the enemy variety, you will have like a specific enemy that you'll fight, and then you have like tons of different variations within just the enemies that you see in the world or for hunts. And I feel that, especially when it comes to the hunts, you know, or S rank or A rank monsters around this world, they missed the ball on incorporating certain monsters that are pivotal, that are classic monsters in Final Fantasy. There was no cactar in this game. There are no tomberries in this game. You know, they did have the Iron Giants, they did have the Curals, they did have the Chimeras. No Death Claws, no Sahajins. You know, I was just like, I was looking, especially when it came to like the cactars or the tomberries, I was definitely looking forward to like fighting some of those monsters within this world of Valistia. You know, you did have like your chocobo enemies there, but they weren't that much variety to them. You know, they had the yellow, they had the brown ones, they had like some bluish colored one, they had the black ones, but you know, you did have like a legendary hunt or like an A rank hunt, which was a red chocobo, which kind of god tier, to be honest with you. But overall, I felt like they missed the ball in incorporating some of the enemies within the Final Fantasy universe. You know, where is Tomberry? Where is Cact? Yeah, I don't know. That would have been cool. I felt like that you could have had like an S rank, you know, Tomberry fight. You know what I mean? That would have been, that could have added some difficulty towards the game as well. But I don't know, man. I felt like the enemy variety was a little bit on the weaker side. I'm not really complaining, but I am complaining because I wanted some of these classic enemies or monsters within Final Fantasy XVI. So yeah, those are my cons when it comes to this game. And let's get into the pros. Let's get into the good stuff. Let's get into the ooh wee, because there are a lot of them. And like I said before, you know, even with the cons of this game, you know, which I want them to improve, I want them to do better, overall the pros do outweigh the cons for me, and that's why I review it so high on my own personal score. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's get into some more Final Fantasy XVI. Let's get it. So let's get into the pros, everyone, because I really love Final Fantasy XVI. I adore this game. And the pros, like I said earlier in the review, they super outweigh the cons for me personally, especially for the things that I love and what I look forward to experiencing within a Final Fantasy game. So let's go and talk about those things. Let's get into the pros. So the first pro that we have here are the graphics. Yes, I know beauty's in the eyes of the beholder, but my goodness, when I tell you guys that Final Fantasy XVI is a beautiful game. Just look at this cutscene right here. There's so many moments within this game where I had to press that share button, take a picture. So you're gonna see some pauses because I'm like, wait, this pose right here is way too beautiful. This scene right here is way too beautiful. I gotta capture this. I gotta take a screenshot. You know, you see it within you exploring the world, you see it within combat, these boss battles. It's just a beautiful, sweet symphony. It's just a beautiful painting of everything coming together that Creative Business Unit number 3 have created here within this game. It is just a marvel to look at. It's a marvel to play, and I really appreciate the attention to detail when it comes to the characters and the emotions that they share within some of these cutscenes. Oh my goodness, they hit you, man. Especially when you get some of the love of these characters, the scene, the emotions, the tears coming down the eyes, it definitely captures you. It definitely hits you, and I appreciate what they've done here on a graphical scale of Final Fantasy XVI. The second pro that I have here is the combat. Oh my goodness, Final Fantasy XVI combat is so much fun. Yes, I know we got over some of the cons as far as the oversimplification of certain things, but when you get into the nitty gritty, when you get into the cusp of that combat, oh, I just can't put the controller down. I want to fight every single enemy on screen. The combat is just too good. Well, just take a look for yourself. So as you can see, I really love the combat within Final Fantasy XVI. I love how much variety the combat offers and how much layers is there to be had within mixing and matching all the icon abilities. So you can mix and match whatever icon ability you like if you mastered a specific ability or skill, and it offers so much variety within the gameplay. You know, whether you want to be as optimal as you can, you know, just to be blazing through some of these enemies, or just to fit your play style, whether you wanted to style on enemies or just be as, you know, create as much damage you want to have on some of these enemies. There's also builds that you can build around where, you know, you have so much counterplay within the game. So there's many abilities that offer counters where, you know, if an enemy attack, there's a counter state within the ability, or a counter move like a heat wave move where if they throw a projectile at you, you will counter that specific move. So the combat in this game is just way too good, and I love it so much due to the fact of all the layers it offers. Another pro I want to talk about are the monster designs in the game. I felt like the monsters are designed amazingly well within this game. The way how they animate, the moveset that they have in the game is animated wonderfully. Everything just looks really beautiful. Looking at some of these monsters in 2023, you know, back when we were playing Final Fantasy, we see some of these pixelated monsters, like, wow, they really improved on the look and how these monsters actually move and behave within this newer Final Fantasy game. And I really did appreciate all the individuality these monsters had during combat, and just how they behaved within the world, and just how they actually looked during gameplay. It was beautiful to look at. Another pro I have here is the actual performance within combat. It is kind of shocking to see how rock solid performance can be, how stable it can be within some of the combat here of this game. There's a lot of particle effects that happen within this game. There's a lot of things going on with enemies, what they're doing, what Clive is doing, your party members is doing, and the performance within combat, it doesn't falter. It just stays at whatever frame rate you have it set to, whether it's 30 or 60. Now, performance in general, I feel like they can always, improve on that, especially when you explore in the world. There's little stutters here or there, but overall, the things that you're doing the most in this game is fighting a lot of these monsters. It is very stable and solid for the game, and that is something that should be commended. And that's what I'm doing here, because all these boss fights that I have experienced in this game, the performance, I never was like, oh my god, I got hit because the frame rate it stumbled there. No, it was very solid in all the chaos, and wow, amazing job. So the next pro I want to talk about here in Final Fantasy XVI is actually the music. Right from the beginning of the game, the title screen, the battle, the main battle theme, certain character themes, certain location themes. It's just beautiful, man. Like, legit, there's moments in this game where I would just sit down and just soak in all the music. Soakin' did an amazing job once again when it comes to Final Fantasy and its music, and 16 is no different here. Just take a listen to this music right here. Yeah, the music is that good. I'm so happy that I got the ultimate OST from the Square Enix store. Like, that purchase is so justified. Just listening to the whole score of this game, I'm so pleased with how the music came out, and I will be listening to this game forever and ever. I can't wait to put it on my phone actually and save some of that stuff and just listen to my heart's content while I work or doing other things within my personal life. But yeah, the music is just amazing, and I love every single bit of it. So the next highlight or pro I want to talk about here is the actual world of this game. Valistia itself, I feel like the characters, everything about it is wonderful and beautiful. I just wish that it could be, more stuff for you to explore within the world. But this world is so well crafted, in my opinion. And part of me why I want to highlight this, the world itself, Valistia, is another pro, the side missions. The side missions is one thing that gets a lot of mixed reactions when it comes to just this game and just typically RPGs. But overall, the side missions really paints a picture on how this world is and how people are viewed and how people are treated within this world. There are a lot of side missions that I felt like it just gave me a lot of character development with some of the NPCs within the game, but also, you know, a lot of the side characters that's just traveling within the world. You really see their disdain towards certain set of people, or how they feel about the culture in the game, how they feel about certain oppositions and political themes in the game. It's just really amazing that you get a lot of that stuff out of the side missions. There's one side mission that really touched me. It was such a small, minuscule side mission too, where there was this girl. She was looking for her I guess pet, and the whole time I'm thinking like, okay, you know, she's just looking for a pet. It's no big deal. Let's go find this dog or whatnot. Meanwhile, her thinking, her logic, and how she views, you know, bearers within this world, she viewed one of her bearers as a pet that she would just go play hide and seek with or whatnot, using up all her magic, because you don't know, bearers are, you know, essentially, you know, people within this world that don't need a crystal to use magic. And when we found that bearer, she was just like dead in stone, and the little girl really didn't know how to react. She's like, oh my god, we're just, you know, what happened to her, or we just get a new one. It's just like Clive was so upset with it. Like, the world building within some of these side missions are just well crafted. So I have to acknowledge that, and I really love that within the game. There's a lot of side missions within this game, and majority of them I really enjoyed doing. Only like Nick that I can say is, you know, back in with the cons as far as the award, like just like the legendary chest or just any items in general. I feel like the game could reward you a little bit more during those explorations or during those side missions, but you do get some award in the patronage back in the hideout, where each mission that you do, you get these patronage points that lead up to getting you some awards, like, you know, more ability points, you know, really cool you know, accessories and whatnot. So I did love that aspect within the game. But yeah, this was a very very sad side mission. There's a lot of them too, where there was one where there was a family that were hunting some of the bearers with their dogs, you know, with their hyenas that was like enemies within the world or monsters within the world. And it was just sad to see, like, that's how people are being treated in this world. But yeah, side missions, the world itself, Valistia, it's a beautiful thing, man. Just to see how well crafted everything is. So that's a big plus for me. And yeah, do your side missions, people. Do your side missions. So the next pro I want to talk about are the actual hunts. Hunts are really fun in this game. I'm happy that they brought these hunts back again to Final Fantasy. I always loved them in 12, 15, all the games that you know, had them in there, you know, just going off and fighting these legendary beasts or these menacing beasts or whatnot. I enjoy the hunts a lot, and I do like the fact that, you know, you do see the difficulty spike up a little bit when it comes to the ranking of hunts, because every hunt is not the same. You have your C rank hunts, you have your B, your A, and then your S, your legendary ones. The hunts that I really enjoyed were the ones that was like these kind of like mysterious, like vague clues to see where these monsters are, because it made you go and explore the world a little bit more. So it's like, oh yeah, I think this is in Sandbrick, or this might be in Rosaria right here, or this is in Rosaria, but what area in Rosaria? Oh, it's where a lot of water is or whatnot. Maybe let me go to the Three Reeds area, you know what, and whatnot. I enjoyed that aspect. I just wish there was more, you know, incentive to explore in this game, like prior Final Fantasy games, because yeah, that's just the fun nature of it. You know what I mean? And yeah, some of these hunts, man, these monsters can be very, very annoying. We have Savrog here, very difficult fight here. In the terms, in Final Fantasy 16 terms, as far as difficulty, because overall I don't think Final Fantasy 16 is a super difficult game. It can be challenging at times, but it's not a super difficult game. But yeah, some of these hunts can be very annoying. You know, fighting against the red chocobo, and it's just casting meteor, and the behemoth and all that stuff casting meteor all over the floor. You gotta watch what you're doing, make sure the iconic abilities that you have are on point. It could definitely get annoying, but the hunts, man, the rewards are super good, especially when you play on Final Fantasy mode. Oh my goodness, they will reward you so much in that mode right there. Where you get 8 billion points or experience points within the game. Fighting Savrog in Final Fantasy mode, he's level 91, and I think I got about 8 billion XP points within the game. And I was just like, oh yeah, give me more. I need all of that, because the level cap definitely increased when it comes to Final Fantasy mode. But yeah, hunts are way more fun in Final Fantasy mode, where you could get one-shotted with a boss like Savrog for sure, which I do feel like is probably the most difficult of the hunts there are. There are a lot of hunts in the game, which I do like the fact that they offer a lot, and they're pretty varied too. So that's a super plus for me, and one of the major pluses in my opinion, because I always enjoy the hunts. 15 had a great hunts, 12 had great hunts, and yeah, the reward is super good. So I really do enjoy the hunts. Major pro for me, 100%. The next pro I want to talk about are the actual dominants and the icons. You know, this is the major draw of Final Fantasy 16, is just seeing how these icons and the dominants interact within the world of Valisthea. You know, and it's really cool to see how the usage of the dominants are, and how the icons are being used within the world, because there's a lot of like political and territorial gain that they are using within the world, and that's such a small minuscule part of the overarching theme of the game. And you know, the ultimate boss, and you know, the final boss, and what he has planned for the world and for everybody that lives in here. But it's just cool to see how they're using these icons to showcase their power within each realm and whatnot. And hey, you can't capture my realm because I have this icon, this warden of fire, or this warden of, you know, darkness or light here to defend us. You know what I mean? Seeing how, you know, some of the soldiers, the militia, and how they can rally the troops, just seeing that one of the dominants are there with them in battle, is something amazing. Something is really cool to look at. The interactions between the dominants are amazing. Like this cutscene right here that we're watching between Odin and Ifrit is one of the best in my opinion. I was just like, oh, this is lit right here. They are not holding anything back when it comes to just the interactions. You know, it's just really great to see. Love some of these icons here. You know, these are classic, you know, summons that we had in Final Fantasy series, and just seeing how they're being used here was really fun to see. Like there's a huge battle that takes place between Bahamut and Odin, where those two realms are battling for like the Crystal Dominion location. And yeah, just seeing that stuff is just really cool, and how they rally the troops there when they see these two icons going at each other, and the way how the dominants themselves are. You know, I just love really and truly I love every dominant, from the Benedicta to the Hugo Kepka, you know, to my man Dion. Dion was a very lovely character overall in the game. You know, Barnabas, really great character as well. Jill, that's my boo, that's my bae. I love Jill Warwick to the death of me. Sid, amazing character. I just love how in depth and layered all these characters are. On surface level, they have their own ways, they have their own things that they want to achieve, their own goals that they want to do, or just for the survival. But overall, when you look at the characters and when you look at some of the dialogue and listen to it and see how these characters are really being portrayed, it's something of beauty for sure. One character I really love, I didn't even expect to really love her like that, is Benedicta, because really and truly she just wanted to be loved. She's a very multi-layered character. At the time that we got to interact with her, yeah, she came off as very cold, she came off as very evil and mean, but there are scenes in the game where it just shows like, man, she's acting this way because she did lose the love of her life, and she's looking for that love in all the wrong places, basically. You know what I mean? So I really love the icons. I love the dominance and how they're portrayed, and just everything about this game story wise when it comes to the dominance. We have some really good story and background with these characters, especially Barnabas, especially Dion. Dion was a huge big one for me. Just seeing how that character developed and grow, he can definitely have his own game for sure. But yeah, amazing stuff, and I love to see it. I actually want more of these characters, hopefully in some DLC or something, because yeah, these are really well crafted characters, and it's just great to see these characters play out their roles within the game. So let's talk about the boss battles. Yeah, the boss battles are really good in this game. From the mini bosses to some of the bigger bosses to the major story plot bosses in the game. I felt like the pacing of how they offered up some of these boss fights are really good. There's moments in this game where you'll be fighting about 3 bosses until you get to the major boss fight for the game. Some of the bosses, like smaller ones or mini bosses, they end up being like hunts later on. But overall, man, I would say Final Fantasy XVI have some of the best boss fights I experienced in a video game. I've played a lot of action RPGs, I played a lot of action games, I played a lot of RPG games, and this, sitting on this game for about 2-3 weeks, this is some of the best boss battles I've ever played in a video game. The way how they switch it up and mix up the difference of play within the boss battles are just amazing. One of my favorite fights overall is against Titan, against Hugo Kepka, when he goes into his full iconic Titan mode. The difference, the different of varied of layered fights that you are doing within that combat is ridiculous. You have your regular iconic battle, then you turn into this like kind of runner type game, then you go into like this big boss like mech battle type game, then you're falling down and doing like a bullet hell shooter, shoot 'em up style, jet type game, and then you start falling to the sky some more, and now you're just fighting while you fall into the sky. Just witnessing that and experiencing that for the first time, the second time, to me it never got tiring at all. I love the boss battles in this game. Bahamut, that boss battle, oh my goodness, what a boss fight. The emotional roller coaster that some of these boss fights put you in as well. It's like there's times I wish I could have recorded my facial reaction while I'm doing something sick in this game when it comes to the boss battles. I'm just like, oh my goodness, look at what I'm doing, look at the damage that I'm causing. Sometimes you see 3 million, 4 million, it depends on optimal you are, 5-6 million of damage towards some of these enemies. There was a cool boss battle as well, the Typhon boss battle. I thought that was really well. The only reason why I don't have like the major boss battles here in this review being shown is because I'm uploading individually on the channel. Hopefully you guys go and check those out. But yeah, the boss battles are absolutely amazing. The biggest pro, in one of my opinion, the biggest pros in the game. And yeah, it is definitely some of the best I've ever encountered in a fighting game. Not in a fighting game, but in a action RPG game, or even an action game itself. It is definitely, I mean, heck, the reason why I'm saying fighting game, because there are some moments where you are doing some crazy like combos. Well, I could do some crazy combos. Ifrit is kind of beastly in this game. But yeah, the boss battles in this game are A1, and it has to be highlighted, in my opinion, when it comes to Final Fantasy 16. And yeah, every time I thought like a boss battle would, like, okay, I did this boss battle against Titan, you know, they're probably going to slow it down here. No, they didn't. You know, even the one against Odin, I feel like that was amazing, because that brought a lot of, you know, story, lore, and it revealed a lot what's going on in the game. And yeah, just seeing the mix of him going into like his ultra prime to his semi prime, then priming again, then back to semi prime, fighting again. Then he couldn't. It was just absolutely, it was amazing. The final boss battle, absolutely amazing in this game, man. You know what I mean? It got me on the edge of my seat the whole entire time. My first playthrough, you know, second playthrough, you kind of know what's going to expect. You know, it just hits harder, kind of, you know, different patterns within the game. But overall, the boss battles are amazing in Final Fantasy 16, and I can't wait to do it another time. You know what I mean? To see how I can do it in these arcade modes and things like that for the game. But yeah, boss battles, A1, perfect. And the final pro that I have here, I have them in layers once again, is the overall story and characters. One of the main reasons why I love Final Fantasy, is my favorite franchise in gaming, is due to the story that we get to experience and some of my favorite characters in gaming. And after playing Final Fantasy XVI 2 times in a row, no skipping any cutscenes, I can confidently say that this cast is some of the best I've experienced in a Final Fantasy game. Some in gaming. I love these characters. When it comes to like a tier list, as far as like if some of these characters are going to be in like the top tier or whatnot, that's still a little bit early. But overall, I can say I adore Final Fantasy 16 characters. From the main ones, Clive, seeing his character development, and seeing how he was this closed off wall looking for revenge, and just have his sight on revenge and to kill the person that he thought killed his brother, and to see how he opens up to everyone, doing all these side missions, helping out, doing all these chores, you know, doing all these quests with people. It's just heartwarming to see Clive's development throughout the entirety of the game. Jill Warwick, oh my goodness, I love, the first time I laid eyes on this character, I knew I was going to fall in love. Jill Warwick is she's absolutely charming. I love the hell out of that character. Just seeing how the empowerment movement that she had within her story lore within the game, it was just so amazing seeing that, and how she overcame her demons within the game. But yeah, I can go on forever when I talk about the characters in Final Fantasy 16 and how they play such an important part to the story, because the overall story, from the small minuscule things as far as how people were viewing this world and how they viewed icons in the beginning of the game, and then the overarching theme of saving this world and making sure everybody have their own will to decide and choose everything that they want to do on their own. Wow, what an amazing game. Even if it took sacrificing the use of magic and the daily activities that we use with these crystals, it's just an amazing game. It kind of gave me a little bit of Final Fantasy VII vibes, as far as like the overarching thing. Like, yeah, we might have to sacrifice some few things, but it's for the overall good. So Final Fantasy 16, the story, the characters, A1, and this is the reason why I'm giving it the score that I gave it. And once again, that score is, drum roll please, a 9 out of 10. I think Final Fantasy XVI is a superb game. There's a few chinks in the armor, which I hope they can address and fix, but overall the pros super outweigh the cons, and I really loved and enjoyed my time with Final Fantasy XVI. To be honest with you, I don't think I will ever stop playing this game because it's so fun and addicting. And yeah, I can't wait to play some more, man. Final Fantasy XVI is definitely up there as one of my favorites in the series. And yeah, can't wait to do like a tier list one of these days. But if you guys enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed the review, let me know in the comment section below. Leave your thoughts, leave your opinions. And yeah, we'll have a discussion about Final Fantasy XVI. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. It's your boy Jay Bari, and I'm gone. Deuces.